Hey, everybody, stick around. We're going to get into our minor league minute and then break down some of the new additions and how they've done in the Royal system here in just a second.
You are listening to KC Sports Network, the #1 podcast network for today's Kansas City sports fans. With former players from your favorite teams, informed perspectives, and former insiders, this is the place for you. KC Sports Network is proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
All right, gents. July and August are a wild time for minor league baseball because whether it's through trades or the draft, we are adding a ton of players into a system, trying to get them fit into the rankings, trying to incorporate them into our daily coverage, just like we do all the other guys. It's not likely that you ever add through trades like your top prospect, but sometimes you can get we got 4 or 5 top 20 guys. We got one, and what did Caden Wallace wind up at? Like number 7 on our list through the draft. So there are all kinds of guys they added. I want to go through really quick. We got 14 guys on the list. Let's go through pretty quickly and hit some of the guys that we were big on when they brought them in and how they've been doing so far at the minor league level. Brandon Johnson, reliever out of Ole Miss, made his debut for Columbia the other day. He had some of the best stuff plus numbers in all of college baseball. He was Ole Miss's closer, and now he's pitching for Columbia. Could be a big bullpen arm for them down the stretch as they chase a playoff spot. Cooper Mckeehan and Ben Sears, both guys drafted this year. Ben Sears out of the University of Houston, Cooper Mckeehan out of BYU, both now in Columbia's bullpen. So we keep talking about college guys that Columbia has added to their bullpen. You want to talk about stocking up, trying to make a run at the playoffs. Hey, can we go get Brennan McNair out of Arizona as well? Let's get some more guys. Let's go keep adding weapons to the roster. I want to see the playoff push down the stretch there in Columbia. Another guy that he was brought in from the draft, or let's talk about a few guys brought in from the draft here. Levi Usher, the center fielder out of Louisville. Austin Charles, the 20th round pick that they got to sign, took him out of UC Santa Barbara. What a phenomenal job there by Danny Ontiveros and company to make sure that he signed after they picked him. Both have had some experience in Arizona. Levi Usher has struggled a little bit. Hayden Dunhurst is another guy I wanted to bring up, has had an okay beginning to his professional career there in Arizona. Austin Charles, not a ton of action so far, but did have a couple hits in his first 2 games. So it's good to see him having an opportunity to swing the bat. Now what I'm going to be looking for is they've got him in a routine. They've got Austin Charles playing shortstop and hitting a little bit. At what point do they put him on the mound to let him throw in Arizona? We'll keep an eye on him down there.
I'm excited about that. Is that a new like O'Neal Cruz potentially? He's 6'6". Was he 6'6", 215? If he is actually the shortstop, I mean, that's got me a little juice too.
He's good athlete. We'll see how his hands and his because I think one thing we saw with Bobby Witt Jr. is clearly has the range to play shortstop in the big leagues. Yeah. Clearly has the arm strength, but the fundamentals in the hand-eye coordination were not up to snuff for the big league shortstop position. Will that change long-term? Maybe, but they had to move him to third base here to get him into the swing of things. David Sandlin, goodness gracious. David Sandlin out of Oklahoma, 11th round pick, got like 3rd round money, 2nd round money though. So we're talking about a premium talent. Got his first start in Arizona the other day, threw a couple innings. Joel, is this a guy we could be looking at in Columbia here next week as they, again, keep making this playoff push?
If they want to make the playoff push, I don't see why the hell you don't, right? Like, get the guy in there, give him a couple outings, in full season ball, and see where it goes. And maybe you give him your game 3 start in a playoff series, something like that, and just see where it goes. And maybe you can start him there for a little bit next year. It's just a little bit of comfortability, like get him there down to Columbia, get him used to that South Carolina heat, and then bring him back there in April and get it rolling. I really like David Sandlin a lot and hope that we have an opportunity to see him over the next few weeks there as a Columbia Mix playoffs. because they're making the playoffs. I'm just going to manifest it and say it happens.
Put it
For
out
anybody
there.
who was maybe unfamiliar, David Sandlin, his teammate Cade Horton has some of the best stuff in the draft, was not very good early on for the Sooners, but he and Cade Horton was drafted 7th overall. He and David Sandlin both came on like crazy down the stretch for Oklahoma, carried them to the College World Series where they both pitched well in Omaha. David Sandlin clearly pitched in big moments, was shut down there for a little bit after the college season, is ramping back up in Arizona. I would think the only reason David Sandlin would be throwing in Arizona is if he's going to go to full season to participate in the playoffs. I don't know why else you'd throw him and just shut him down for the year. So we'll see if they can get him to Columbia. I would be excited for that just to see what David Sandlin looks like on a minor league feed. What's he look like in the playoffs against professional hitters at the full season level? So I will be excited and watching that very closely.
They're going to have to figure out they've already got 6 dudes that all started a game this week. So they're going to have to figure out a roster rotation spot where that's coming from, if that's a thing.
Well, and I think the thing to keep an eye on too is I don't know where they want Mazzucato, Caderna, Panzini in terms of innings. So could Mazzucato run out there in a playoff start for 3, David Sandlin for 3, and then the next day is Ben Caderna for 3, Jonathan Bernal for 3, right? So you bring in guys to piggyback in these starts. So we'll see how that plays out. Now there's some guys I want to spend a little more time on. Andrew Hoffman comes over to Kansas City in that trade that included Drew Waters for the 35th overall pick. He has made 7 starts for the Northwest Arkansas Naturals, which should be noted. They were also his first 7 AA starts. So he was pitching really well at high A, 10.13 Ks per 9, 2.36 walks per 9, and a 2.36 ERA at high A in Atlanta. He comes to Northwest Arkansas. His strikeouts per 9 are down under 7. His walks per 9 are over 4.5, and his ERA is damn near 6. Josh, you wanted to point something out, and I'm going to give you the floor here for a couple minutes. Trevor Hoffman, TJ Sikkema, Beck Way, William Fleming, Max Castillo. The 5 of those arms have something in common. I'm gonna let you talk about that really quick.
They were throwing strikes, and now they are not throwing strikes. I know that's like the big thing. Every comment we ever post or say anything about a pitcher in the system, it's the Royals are going to kill them or going to do something. At some point, the results have to start pointing to that, and it's getting harder to defend it whenever the guys come in from another organization, come into the organization, and their walk rates just sky high. That's always going to be like Hoffman always had control issues. I think Castillo is the same way. Beck Way also had some command issues. They are bringing in projects because the Royals think that they can fix these dudes, and that might be to their own detriment, because if they can't fix them, and in fact they're doing a worse job than the team that they came from, it could start looking at just an absolute obvious black eye that in the offseason, the owners, the management, the front office has to sit down and like point to and be like, okay, this is obviously an issue. None of these pitchers are taking steps forwards. And in fact, some of these guys, Lacey, Marsh, we talked about them over and over and over again, are taking steps back. What are we going to do to remedy this? This needs to be from top to bottom overhaul, it seems like. But it's one thing to see your own system struggling to throw strikes, throwing wild pitches, hitting batters at a crazy rate. And then they start bringing in guys who we all stood up for, being like, they're throwing pitches and they're throwing strikes in these other organizations. This is a great addition. I like this trade because of that. And then they come in and they don't throw strikes. It's like, I don't know. Something's got to give here. We either need to figure out, and is this a Moneyball situation where we need to trust the process? Sorry. Do we need to trust the established system and development team, or do we need to just overhaul this whole thing? It's not working, and where do we go from here? We need to figure that out this offseason because it's too important. There's too much stuff going on, too much riding on this pitching staff from the entire organization.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but I need to tell you about our friends at DraftKings. Kansas, DraftKings Sportsbook is coming to the Sunflower State. It won't be long until you can bet on all your favorite sports from the comfort of your own home, And to celebrate, all new customers will receive $100 in free bets when you sign up using code KCSN. Plus, one lucky customer will win a $100,000 free bet. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you $100 in free bets just for signing up today. No deposit required. Soon you'll be able to bet on money lines, spreads, props, and more with one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps, DraftKings Sportsbook. Plus, you'll be entered to win a $100,000 free bet when you sign up. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up with code KCSN to get $100 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Kansas. Plus, one customer will win a $100,000 free bet. That's code KCSN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 800-522-4700. Must be 21 years or older. Physically present in Kansas. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements. One per customer. $100 issued as $425 free bets. No purchase necessary for sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Ends first day DraftKings is allowed to operate in Kansas. See terms at dkng.co/ks. Now, let's get back to the show.
I want to touch on one thing you said really quick, which is Hoffman's control was never really a big issue. William Fleming was the one who had the control issues. So,
Fleming is it.
So like three of those guys had varying levels of control already, but it has been exacerbated with the Royals. The thing that I think is, like, if you wanted one example of like damning evidence, TJ Sycamore, I know he didn't pitch last year. I know he's rehabbing in some capacity, and I know they just moved him to Double-A. However, 5.03 walks per nine in his first 5 starts with Northwest Arkansas. That, to me, is the evidence. This is a guy whose trademark quality was his command, pinpoint command.
Yeah.
2.3 walks per nine at high A, 0.84 in his first professional season. This guy don't miss.
Yeah.
He don't miss with anything. And it's not necessarily indicative of his command, because part of not walking people is getting them to chase.
Yes.
But his command has not been good with Northwest Arkansas. I'm not saying the Royals did something to change that. They may have brought TJ Sycamore in, put him on the mound, and said, okay, go do. Good luck. But when things get worse, it's how do you fix it? What cues was he getting from the Yankees? What cues was Andrew Hoffman getting from the Braves that got that command back on track? And I think the big thing that I want to be clear on is I will extend an olive branch, and I will go as far as to say that I don't know that it's the Royals breaking the pitchers. I won't say that the Royals are doing something that is making them worse, but what I think is factual and evident through every pitcher in the system is what the Royals have not done is a good enough job of fixing those issues. And at some point, if you are not part of the solution, you are inherently a part of the problem. So, like, this is a really weird line of where doing nothing and not being really good at your job is just as bad as being bad at your job, right? Being neutral and being bad are the same. You can be an average pitching coach or a bad pitching coach, and you are the same. It's the exact same. And the guys in the organization that they have, I don't know who the pitching coach is at Double-A. I don't even know his name. But whoever it is might be a good pitching coach. Whatever it is he's doing, he needs to do differently, because whatever it is he's doing is not helping these guys see better results. That is a fact. TJ Sycamore has not been very good for Northwest Arkansas, and that's okay. It's fine. I am a believer in TJ Sycamore. I still think he has back of the rotation starting ability in the big leagues, and I still think he could be a very quality reliever. I don't even know who the pitching coach at Double-A is. I'm not even saying that it's his fault. He might be very good at his job, but what we need to see is a change, some self-reflection to go back and look at how we can help these guys better, because whatever we're doing right now isn't working. And I know, I got to be careful here. I know where this is going, and I know the fallback that I'm probably going to get for this. I do this all the time with myself in a classroom. Give a test. Man, these kids bombed this test. I'm not going to get mad at my principal for yelling at me because the kids bombed the test. I'm not going to get mad at the kids for bombing the test. If I know that something went on, I might get mad at the kids, like maybe if I knew some specifics, but I'll look in the mirror. What did I do? What happened? Did I miss a day? Was I gone sick? Did I take a day off and all of a sudden my kids are struggling because of it? Was I being lazy? Was I tired? What did I do incorrectly that all of my kids bombed the test? At some point, it's not just the kid's fault, and it's not my principal's fault for telling me that I didn't do a good enough job. So a little bit of self-reflection, diagnosing the issue. Like you said, if it requires a teardown, then it requires a teardown. But maybe a little bit of self-reflection is really what we need in the long run. Because like you said, Beck Way is really the only pitcher that came over and has exceeded expectations or what he was doing at the previous level. So I totally agree with you. I'm glad you brought it up and you put it really well. But it's coming to the point where I'm no longer mad. I'm just confused. It's like
just disappointed.
I just want to see a solution. Like I want to see progress and go, okay, there it is. Like there's the example of progress. So last thing really quick before we get on to our last segment, Drew Waters. Could anybody have expected him to do anything else than he's done?
Honestly, no. I mean, the fact that he's gone to the big league level and he's not striking out a whole crap ton is a miracle in and of itself. And I watched his at bat today. I was at the game at the K with my mom, and I'm watching him, and he's going against Shamanaya, at least the first couple of bats, he's pretty tough, and the Royals got to him today, but generally we look at him as a solid big league pitcher. And Drew Waters put together some really good at bats, especially early on, jumped the pitch early and got it, worked a couple of counts later in the game. He punched out once. Okay, he's going to do that. But then the next at bat, he walks after a really good at bat that took about 7 or 8 pitches. So that's the improvement that we wanted to see. Drew Waters is going to strike out. It's just a part of his game. But the fact that the Royals have been able to take him right away and cut down on his swing rates in crazy ways. He was swinging way, way too much in Atlanta, in AAA, where it was just you could throw the rosin bag and he'd probably swing at it. Now we're getting to a point where he's able to be more selective, and we're starting to see the dividends of it. He's getting to more balls, and he's making more contact, putting together better at-bats. It's a much more winning formula.
There is one. Go ahead, Josh.
If you had to handicap the odds of his first RBI coming off of a walk, what are the odds of that? Like
plus
70,000?
Yeah, plus 1,000. I mean, the cojones it took to take that 3-2 pitch.
Oh, man. Absolutely.
In your first game in that moment, good on you, man.
He took a 3-2 pitch today for his second walk that missed the zone by about that much in a situation where he, like most guys, would be coming out of their shoes, game's over, I'm just up here swinging. He took a walk. I'm like, he's a changed man. He's a changed man. Did you guys know there's only one player in big league history whose xWOBA, his expected weighted on base? Okay, so basically what I'm saying is one player in big league history who is more likely to get on base by swinging than not swinging. You know who that is?
Ted Williams.
Ted Williams is the only player in big league history who the likelihood of him getting on base went up when he swung. Everybody else, it decreases because swinging, especially think about it, Hall of Famers get a hit 30% of the time. You can swing and miss. You can strike out. There's a lot of things you could do besides getting a hit. Swing less is the motto, and Drew Waters has swung less. It's fantastic. I love what I'm seeing. And as much as I'd like to see progress on the pitching side, nobody's perfect. And what the Royals are able to do with hitters with just like this, their 3 pillars is bring them in and go, okay, you are going to abide by these 3 pillars. And then once you get to a point where we think we can evaluate you to the hitter you're supposed to be, now how can we build on that, right? So we put the 3 pillars in, you stop swinging so damn much, and we go, okay, here's the hitter you should have been all along. Now what can we do with you? I can't wait to see what Drew Waters does in the big leagues in 2023.
100%. Yep.
Joel, if I'm going to go to the Royals game next week, where do I get my tickets?
Go to our good friends at ticketsforless.com if you're looking to take your crew out to the K. They're for the last month of the season. They're about to hit the road, but when they come back, be sure to check out our friends at Tickets for Less. Ticketsforless.com has the best selection of tickets for all your favorite sporting events, concerts, and shows, including the Royals. Tickets for Less never charges per ticket fee, saving you big time over the other sites out there. You can save even more when you use our exclusive partner code at checkout. Simply enter code KCSN22 when ordering your seats at ticketsforless.com. That code again is KCSN22.